Good morning, good Friday, happy Friday to each and every one of you. I just want to say I'm so happy that you all are here. Welcome to the autopsy of her, healing, evolving, resiliency. I am Iris Denise Owens, and on the line with me is my beautiful sister and co-host,
Stephanie Deani Green.
Hey,
Good
honey
morning,
bunny.
everybody.
How
Good morning, honey bunny.
you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Um,
That's good.
managing the life insanity and still smiling.
I know.
I think that's a good one. Managing life insanity and still smiling. Yeah,
That's it.
finding the joy in everything, regardless of the situation.
Hey, you have to enjoy the ride. You have to enjoy the totality of it all. People was like, I'm gonna enjoy it when I get there. Then you're gonna miss out on
Mm-mm.
everything else. You gotta enjoy every step,
Every
on your
step,
way up. Wherever you
every
go,
step,
you gotta enjoy it,
every step.
definitely.
So we're going to jump in today. It's been a minute, but not necessarily a minute that we have been that we've recorded, but it's been a minute that we kind of been had the opportunity to really sit down. And so first I want to share that what is it now? 2 weeks ago, I actually got to see Steph and I were face to face. I surprised her and showed up in Savannah.
I know. What a great surprise. What a great birthday gift.
It's the second time in our relationship that I have done that to her. But it was
It
such a
is.
joy to see you and be with you and be in the same space together. And then also that our daughters had an opportunity to be in the space together and share. My youngest went to college this week. Yes, oh my God, this week. And Steph's daughter is already in college, and it was really nice to have Steph's daughter share some things, even though it was probably brief moments, but that she had someone to chat with and talk to and be able to relate to the fact that she was taking this big step in life right now. And I so do appreciate that. I just think, there have been so many changes in this.
Oh my God, yes.
God,
We're like new people since the last time we taped. We're
right,
not even
we
the same
are.
people anymore.
We have, listen, we both have new addresses.
We
We both live in different counties.
yeah.
We're in the same states we are, but it has just been crazy. And like by by divine intervention, I mean, it was so great to be able to see you, like I said, to share the same space with you. And I really wish that we had had a chance to even record right then and there, but nonetheless, it was still amazing. We had such a good time together in our quick turnaround time, but it was just great to see you. I love you so much, and it was just
I love you so
amazing.
much too. And thank
Yeah,
you for all the beautiful gifts. Oh, she brought me some beautiful clothes. I love the dress, the strapless dress with the coat. Of course, me and myself could not get in it. I could fit everything else, but I couldn't fit that. I like the Savannah. I gave it to Savannah. But
yes.
I thank you so much. It was so
Oh, you're
nice.
welcome. You're
Yes,
welcome.
I really appreciate it. We
I
just
was like,
had a really good time. It
I
was it was short, but it was very, very sweet.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. We had a chance to sit down and laugh and talk and like I said, have the opportunity to act like two schoolgirls together, sharing secrets and laughing and giggling. And that was just amazing. That just really warmed my soul and my spirit. And again, it was just great to see you.
Because of
Um,
time, we haven't seen each other since 2016.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
It didn't even
yeah.
seem that way, right? But
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
this
Yeah,
is,
but it's 2016.
yeah,
Yep,
time just goes by so fast. It
it
just,
does. It really, really does. And actually, I'm thinking, I think it was 20. I'm thinking, I want to say 2015, but I'm thinking that, you know what? It wasn't. It was 2015 we hadn't seen each other because you came to this, you had that thing you had to do and you had to come to New York. I believe that was
yes.
2015.
Yeah, you're right.
It
Wow.
was 2015. Yep,
So that was like, so that's already 6 years ago?
yep.
Oh my God, that's insane.
I know, but it doesn't feel like it 'cause we talk all the time.
Right. Yeah, we talk all the time. And now that we're doing the podcast together,
We talk even
we
more.
do get to see each other, which is amazing.
Exactly. So that's
I,
it, right?
I'm so happy for technology, to the
Oh
fact
my
that
God.
you
Yes.
can stay connected with one another and
Mhm.
not lose touch with one another. I so do appreciate that. But of course, there's nothing like the real thing, baby. So I'm
Oh,
again
now that's
just
the truth.
happy that we
Hey,
had the opportunity to
exactly.
be in each other's space. Um, I think what we're going to touch on today is probably a plethora of
You look
things, just
beautiful, by the
because.
way.
Thank you, and you're always beautiful.
Oh,
So
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, honey.
I think we're just going to touch on a plethora of things, just because there's just been so much stuff that has happened
Mm.
in the month of July and now into August, and just trying to manage all these things, um, and encountering people that you never imagined that you probably would have encountered or would have been in these situations. And I think that's just all a part of the life circle that we're in. Um, Ever since we started this podcast, it's been interesting that I think we each have opportunities where we meet a complete stranger. And by the time we leave that person, this person is now, considers us a friend,
Mhm.
or and we consider them a new sister. um, and I think it's so important as women that we always support one another.
Sure.
We don't always do that well.
Mhm.
Sometimes we mess it up, but we're
Mhm.
human.
Yep,
and then
exactly.
there and then there are other times where we literally we get it right by grace. um, And I think that is something that we have to learn for one another, with one another, how to have grace for another woman, for our sisters, no matter where she is in her life journey, where we are in our life journey. It's so important to find grace and make room. Maybe that's the real important thing, to learn how to make room for people.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we're going about our lives and we're busy, and we don't even realize how much we need those people to make room for us as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that was a big learning thing through COVID, though, because it was like when you think about the people, like your favorite show, the one that you watched, and the lady, I believe she was one of the creators of the show,
Mm-hmm.
and she committed suicide, you know, and definitely had something to do with you know loneliness. It's probably something underlining other
Mm-hmm.
than that also. Don't get
Mm-hmm.
me wrong, but just the fact that imagine if she would have had someone just to talk to, or somewhere to go, or someone to be with,
Right.
that probably wouldn't have been her fate in life, you
Right.
know, because the reality is there's really a lot of lonely people in the world. And with COVID, it just exacerbated all of those issues with people that are already lonely, you
Yes.
know. And a lot of people did, unfortunately commit suicide because of loneliness, because no
Right.
man is an island. We do need each other, you know.
Yes.
Even if you go out your door, you may not even speak to anybody that day. It's just
Right.
energy of just having other people around you.
Right. Right.
It's important.
And you know what? It's not. I think with COVID just really, like, for most of us, our issues have been our issues.
Hmm.
I think though, with life being busy, we had the opportunity to continue to suppress whatever
Hmm.
issues we were dealing with.
Hmm.
We
That's
had the
right.
opportunity to mask whatever our issues were. We had the opportunity to just ignore whatever was
Hmm.
going on with us, because we felt like, I don't have time to deal with that. um, one of my really good friends, we always laugh about how we don't have time to have a mental breakdown, but if we're going to, we have to schedule it,
Hmm.
right? And of course, we never schedule it. And though it's probably very needed, but then what ends up happening a lot of times is that it schedules itself, and
Mhm.
then it interrupts your whole entire being.
Yes, it does, honey.
I think all of the isolation from COVID caused each and every human being, if you had breath in your body and you were breathing, it caused us all to have a moment of reflection. And if it didn't,
Mm.
I
Shame
think
on
that's,
you.
yeah, I think that's even
I mean, really.
scarier.
Yeah.
Um, and I know for me, even though I am nowhere near perfect. I'm nowhere near good at everything or good about everything. But I do know that there are things that I need to continue working on. And um, for those of us who refuse to see that there are things to work on, it just makes it difficult to kind of deal into balance. Um,
Well,
because,
we're a work in progress. I mean, you're never finished
right,
working on yourself. You know what I mean? Not until like the day you die, you'll still be working on yourself, or you should be anyway.
right,
But that's what keeps you. That really is one of the things that keeps you alive, keeps
right,
you youthful. Is that learning something every day, working on yourself. How can I do this better? How can
right,
I be better? Working
right,
on yourself. You know what I mean? And once you say like, oh, I know everything, I did everything.
right,
Like it's one of my old movies I like to watch. And the guy says, I think I've been everywhere. I know everybody. Like, then what else is there for you? You know, you never, it's always something new coming up. I learn new things as you
yes.
should from your children. As your children grow, they will teach you things,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
and like, and I'm open to listen, and
Yes,
I ask kids, like this, and you're still teaching them also, you
yes,
know, and
right,
so you can learn something from everybody. And it's really interesting. But people that close themselves off from that, they are very. You can see those type of people.
right,
It's like because there's only one way to do something. Certain things it's not only one. There are some things, but certain things it's not only one way to do it. You
yes.
know, it's other ways, but you have to open yourself up for that. So you could. It makes you a happier person. Because I find
Mhm.
that people that aren't open for things, they're not really happy people.
Yes,
They somewhat like miserable. You
yes,
know, I only eat here. I only do that. I only do
right,
this. Very, very
right,
rigid. You
right.
know.
I was looking up because, of course, the topic of our podcast is the autopsy of her, right? Healing, evolving, resiliency. And I think, we all understand the definition of healing, but I wanted to go over the definition of evolving. And there are two that stick out to me. So the first one is develop gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form,
Mm,
right? The second one is chemistry, give
mm,
off gas or heat. The energy evolved during this chemical change is transferred to water. So, is that not interesting that we go from simplistic to complex?
mm.
And then in that process, we're also giving off energy, gas, or heat, right? And isn't it funny that in order to evolve, you have to give off something
Mhm.
and you have to change into something. So the simplicity of just being, as great as that is, in order to evolve, you need to evolve to something more complex.
Exactly.
And I
That
think
that's really deep.
isn't it interesting that that is where I think
Mhm.
a lot of us struggle, where when people say, I don't like change,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
don't like change because you don't want to change and you don't want to
Mhm.
evolve. You don't want to be go from simple to complex.
Well, people don't want to adapt, and adaptability is really so important because it's just like you have a day. We all have our days. We plan our days. In our mind, this is how our day is going to go.
Right.
Um, and that day may not go anything like that.
Right.
And so if you don't adapt to what's going on around you, you're just going to be miserable. But you're going to end up creating a miserable life for yourself because every time something doesn't go your way, you can't adapt to it.
Right.
That's not good. And most people are
Right.
like that. Most people are happy. Oh my God, I got a flat tire. They just. I'm
Right.
like, relax. And I say, like I was telling somebody recently, I said, you have to turn that around. Maybe that flat tire saved your life.
Right.
If you could have gotten into a car accident and wouldn't have survived if it wasn't for the flat tire.
Right.
You got to look at that differently. You got to switch the way you think about certain things.
Correct.
If you're like, oh, this is it saved you.
Yeah.
And you have to look at the blessing that's in those things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
most people have a hard time to do that. And you have to be able to adapt to your surroundings because things are always going to be changing. You make plans, but God makes alterations, and
Right.
they're not going to go the way that you think they're going to go. You have
Right.
to be open. I tell God every day, I'm following. I got this idea where I want to go, but
Right.
you lead and I will follow.
Right. Right.
Because that's important.
I started praying that, Lord, I commit the work of my hands unto you, and that
Mhm.
I'm internally confident in him.
Mhm.
And I have just seen things. I mean, like I said, I always have known that God hears me,
Mhm. Me
right?
too.
Even when I don't speak it.
Me too.
But I also know that at the same time, I can see the places where I have evolved in
Mhm.
life. I see the places where my children have evolved. And so I want to go back to something you said a few minutes ago about how we learn from our children. And I think for me, that is such an amazing thing. Like yesterday was my son's birthday. It's
Oh,
his 27th birthday.
it's
And
my fellow Leo.
yes, yes, he is. Yeah, yes, he is. And I've always told him that even if he was not my son, I would love him
Mhm.
because the spirit that he has always been one of a very accepting, very laid back, very like, if that's what you say we got to do, then that's what we got to do.
Mhm.
Not confrontational. Um,
Mhm.
when he was younger, I would say that he was respectfully defiant.
Mhm.
But but what I realize about my son is that it's not even defiancy. My son is more, as he has gotten older and as I have learned to allow him,
Mhm.
not no, let me change that, not allow
Right.
him.
I
Where
believe you.
I have learned to accept who my son is
Mhm.
and then be the mother that he needs me to be, but also allow myself to learn from him and to see how great a person he is. And I posted yesterday saying that, it's a blessing when the children that you have given birth to turn out to be great human beings. Like you
Yes,
were
it is.
blessed abundantly, right? And
Mhm.
that as long as we always remember that yes, we gave life to them, but they're not ours.
No, they're not. They're
And
not.
and we didn't necessarily make them,
No, we didn't.
we were the vessel.
That's that exactly.
We
That
didn't
that
make
that
them.
that God chose for them to
Right.
come from.
We don't give life. We
Mhm.
don't have that
No,
ability.
no, we don't. No, we don't. Not at all.
And so when you really start to process in your mind the depths of really what life is, and that is that one, we don't control anything.
No, we don't. Now that's true.
We control
Exactly.
nothing, and
Not
we
nothing.
absolutely control no one.
Nope. Oh, absolutely not. That's one of a human's biggest mistakes, trying to
Right,
control people.
right. Because the biggest thing is that I have problems sometimes controlling my own self.
Exactly.
So for sure, I am not an expert on controlling other people.
Nope. Nope.
Listening to my youngest, who I said went, we dropped her off on Monday at college, and the first night, I was there with her till about 11:30. I got home about 1 in the morning. And of course, I know I was gonna call her, but I told her I would text her when I got home, but she called me. And I said, "How you doing?" And I could tell, of course, she's, first night away
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
home,
Uh-huh.
And so she said, "I'm okay. I'm trying to adjust."
Mm,
To me, that was a level of maturity
exactly. Mm-hmm.
that I really could appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
um, from a child who, she's the baby of the family, she gets what she wants, and not because she's
Mm-hmm.
spoiled or anything, but she has parents and grandparents and siblings who look out for her. And
Exactly.
that's her
Mhm.
life,
As it should be.
as it should be. But I was happy to hear her say, "I'm trying to adjust."
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday when we spoke, she said that her middle roommate, because the school took their common area and turned, so instead of a quad room, is a quadruple room. So they took the common area and turned it into another bedroom because last year they didn't have enough space for freshman housing.
Okay.
Um, but the middle roommate went home yesterday.
Wow.
And so my daughter said, she said, "I really tried to talk to her, mommy, and kind of find out, she's like, I was talking to her to tell her no." And she said, the young lady said she would be back, but she needed to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, my daughter doesn't know what's going on. No one else knows what's going on at the moment. But I shared with my daughter, I said, leaving home is a major
Yes, it
disruptor of
is.
one's life. Even
It
when you
is.
want to,
Oh
even when
yeah.
you
Oh
want to,
yes.
because it's a major change. You're in a new place, it's a new location.
Mhm,
You're not coming back home in a week or 2 weeks or
mhm, mhm.
tomorrow or whatever. Um, you're
But
with
to
a
leave
whole,
your family behind to move somewhere else is a big,
it,
big deal.
it's a
But
big
think
deal.
about when you move your whole family with you somewhere. It's a big,
Big
big
deal.
deal. So
Oh,
imagine when
absolutely.
you leaving them by yourself. That's
That's
huge.
yes, it's a big deal.
It's
Um,
like, oh my God, yes.
yeah, so it's like, so and that's why I said there's just been so many changes. So
Mhm,
dropping my youngest off at college, my middle child is, turning 27,
mhm,
doing well in life, watching him and watching his dreams and his visions in life come to fruition is just amazing, you know. Um, and him acknowledging that he did not do this on his own, for me, is the greatest thing. And not that he's giving me accolades, that he gives God
mhm.
accolades and says he knows that this is God.
Yes,
For me, um, that's amazing.
that is amazing.
And I always tell him that he's a blessed child. He's covered and he's blessed, and he is.
Mhm.
And he's not a child, he's a man.
Yes, he is.
So for that perspective, um, I think we're both your son's leaving Wednesday.
We're taking him on the 22nd.
Okay.
Yep,
And he's
of
going
August.
far.
Yes, Cali, Cali, Cali.
So how are
I'm
you
living,
preparing?
and I'm feeling it because just the fact that he's never left because he did his first year in college virtual.
Yes.
And now, like, whereas my daughter, she left, she was gone for 2 years,
Right.
before she had to come back because of, COVID. So now it was just like it was really interesting though, I must say, having them both home and they're not in high school. That
Yes.
was an interesting
Yes.
dynamic,
Yes.
and but my kids are just they're busy. They do their thing, so they were the working or they like well my daughter now she has an internship, so she works virtual. So
Mm-hmm.
she's at home like working like now.
Right.
My son works in the city.
Right.
at the New York Film Academy where he went to school for like
Right.
4 years. So
Right.
that's interesting. That just the fact it's like, I'm gonna get a job there. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna commute to the city every day. I was like, oh,
Oh,
that was a big year. I was like, wow,
right. Right.
and he's been doing it and he loves it, being a TA there. So it's big, So it's different. Like when I want to think we could do something, I gotta wait. He doesn't come home from work to 7:30, So you just think they're like these little adults, their own thing. My daughter, she goes out, she comes home with all these groceries. He does the same. They get all the stuff that they want. It's like these. They're little adults, these little mini
Yes.
adults. You just see them growing and flourishing every day,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful,
Yeah.
knowing that they're prepared. That's what is the most
Right.
important. It's preparation. And
Yes.
I was speaking to a young lady yesterday about her daughter. She just graduated from high school, and her mom, she's young too, and she's like, well, she doesn't know what she wants to do. I said, well, she said, I said she's not an adult. She's only 17. She hasn't even turned 18 yet. And I said, but you have to guide her.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be there for her to guide her. I said, because she's still trying to find her way.
Right.
Some people, I do really feel that if your kid tells you they're not ready to go away, you need to listen to them. Maybe that,
Absolutely.
you have to listen to what your
Absolutely.
children are telling you, because it was at a time that my daughter was like, oh, I don't think I want to go away. And it was people
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, you have to make her go away. Just put her out there. Well, no,
No,
I
you
know. And
don't.
I always had this one saying, I said, every bird that gets kicked out the nest doesn't necessarily fly.
Absolutely.
Some don't fall to the ground because they're not prepared. And
Exactly.
preparation is the best thing that you could do for your children. Have them
Absolutely.
prepared, because it is a cold, cold world out there.
Yes, it is.
And preparation, because let me tell you, when they come back home and when those chickens come home to roost, when they're 35 and 40,
Mm-hmm.
because make it, they come back home a mess.
Yes.
And
Yes.
to clean up a mess of a 30 something, 40 something
Of another
person,
adult is no fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's rough. And
Yeah.
I know
It's
some
no
adults
fun.
that came back home that are our age and was never able to leave again.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you know people like that too. And it's
Yes.
sad.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
I know people who never left home.
I know people never left either. They just could not cope. They wasn't able to get themselves. I
Ever.
know people that have never left.
Yeah.
Yes, I
You're
do.
thinking when I met you, you were considered an adult already. And then
Exactly.
I grew up watching you
And then you
thinking that,
surpass. That's what
right.
happens
And
to
then
you.
I
Yes,
surpassed you. It's like, how did
exactly.
that happen?
Somebody used to admire when you was a little kid. They
Yes,
were like the
yes,
person, and then
right.
you're like, wow,
Wow.
it's to me, it's like I didn't feel like, oh wow, look at me. I always felt like it frightened me that has happened to me,
Right,
and I'm like, wow, this is somebody that I looked up to, and here you are
right,
still standing still.
right.
You
You're
know,
stuck.
it's
You're
right,
stuck.
and exactly, you are definitely stuck. But then I think that if I admired you so much when I was younger, and you're stuck,
Yes.
then that can happen to anybody. So
Oh, yes.
it puts me in a position that I gotta keep moving because I don't want to get stuck. Like, oh my God, because it can happen to anybody. You can get
Yes.
caught and lots of times what I have found is always goes back to a relationship, a love, intimate relationship that I found these people have gotten stuck, you know. And it's like you can get stuck in situations, or you can be so hurt by something that has occurred to you, or has happened to you, that you cannot move on. You
Yes.
do not heal from that, and there you
Yes.
go. Now you're stuck in that same place, and you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of waiting for that person still to come back. And you want to say, it's 20 years, honey. They're not coming back. They have gone on and moved on with their life, and
Yes.
you're still sitting here,
Yes.
saying, I'm not waiting, but in reality, you are waiting.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I posted this on one of my Instagram pages. It was something I found. It says, if you love someone, set them free. If they come back, it means nobody else liked them. Set them free again.
Oh, it's true though. It is so true. I mean, that is like, I was having this conversation with my girlfriend the other day, and I was like saying that this guy that used to like me, and she's like, well, it's different now because you guys in different places. Maybe y'all can like each other again. And I'm thinking, no, because he thought he was something better and he didn't find anything better. But you have to know that when you meet that person, they're the best, because you cannot. I mean, that's a very fine tune talking about I'm gonna get back together with somebody, or I'm
No,
gonna date them again. Yes,
no.
because you don't know. Because really, that is what you said. They went out there looking for something else and couldn't find anything better. Oh, let me circle back around
Yes.
because that
Yes.
was the best I was gonna
No.
get. No, you
No.
had to know I was best when you first came.
Don't circle around don't circle back to anything. Been there, done
Nope.
that, and it's not a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Well, I
again,
do. I mean, I beg to differ in your situation, but that's just me because I'm all about. But
no,
I just
because listen, again, what did we just talk about? Evolving. There are
yes.
many people walking this earth every day who at one point in life were a go-getter. They were excited about life. They were doing it. They were doing what they had to do. They were excited. And then something, as you just said, something happened or
Mm-hmm.
something didn't happen
Mm-hmm.
that caused them
Right.
to stay in that moment right there.
Yep.
Whatever occurred, it cut them off, or they decided to cut themselves off from continuing to live.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're awoke every day, they're walking
Mm-hmm.
around, they wake up every day, but they're not living. And there is a vast difference between walking around and living.
And being
Living
present.
is
Right. Exactly.
right,
Mm-hmm.
being
And
present
being
and
woke.
living,
Right.
and being woke.
Mm-hmm.
So I just realized that is someplace I've always been afraid of being stuck in any moment in my life.
Me too.
That
Me
is
too.
something if someone says, what are you afraid of? Afraid of not continuing to grow, afraid of being stuck, afraid of doing something just because I think it's my only option, right? Or doing something that I really hate, but again, because I'm like, this is my only option.
Well, you're not really afraid because you're not afraid of anything, but you're mindful. It's in your conscious mind,
Yes.
because you know that you're God's child, so you're not afraid. It's
Well,
like
this
that
is true.
mindfulness, right? So I'm being it's like most people aren't mindful of those things, and I'm mindful of a lot of those same things. But you have to be mindful; they're right in the front of your subconscious mind.
Yes.
Because if you're not aware, it can easily happen to you.
Yes.
And they say, you are stuck, or you in a situation that you're working at a job that you don't like. You're just keeping time.
Right. Right.
So you have to be mindful. Most people aren't mindful. They're just going, like, they're not even going with the flow. Like, they're just kind of like there,
Right.
and like they don't even ask the question, how did I get here?
Right.
Because they don't even know to ask the question. Or
Right.
some people think that you should be there. Some people are like, I never forget when I used to, like, when I was young, I was in college and I was dating all different people and everything like that. And my a neighbor of mine said, "Oh my God, it's how you're going on different dates." I said, "That's how you meet people. You're not sleeping with
Options.
people, but you're meeting people." Oh, that's
Options.
too much. But exactly. So
Options.
find what's best for you. I mean,
Yeah.
just like you and I, we love shoes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's our
Options.
hello options. We love. I mean, some people, you're gonna get into a home, and make it your own. Some
Right.
people aren't gonna do that. You know what I
No.
mean? Oh, this is just, and it's
Right.
like certain things that are important. We're not gonna leave the house looking like,
Anything.
hooted and ran. Like, like, oh my God, like, really? You left the
Right.
house looking like that?
Right.
It's
Like
like certain things.
like I told one of my friends one time, you purposely left your house looking like that? Like, don't ever do that again. Don't ever do
Yes.
that again.
But then you get ragged by those people. Oh, you gotta just look like this. Oh, you gotta just do this.
You're right.
Yes.
I do.
Yes, exactly. That's what I say. Yes.
Yeah, consistency is
You know,
important. And
it
the one
is.
thing I tell people, you are a walking billboard for you.
You are your own brand. And
You
yes,
are
you are.
there you go.
That's right.
And
You're
you
your
know,
own brand.
I don't care if you're selling something or not. I don't care if you're providing a service or not. You
That's
are
right.
your own brand. And so the way you show up every day, and I'm going to keep saying that because that's really important. The way
Yes,
you
it is.
show up every day is how you think of yourself, and is how you present yourself
That's right.
to the world. It's the energy that you bring.
Yes, it is.
Are you bringing heated energy? Are you bringing lukewarm energy? Are you bringing just cold energy altogether? And it's, you know, the one thing about people who are successful is that they are resilient.
Yes, they are.
They are
Yes, they are.
resilient.
They do not give up.
That's why resiliency is important, because
Exactly.
there have been many things in my life that I have not succeeded at.
Me
There
too.
have been many things that I was not good at. There have been many things that I just flat out failed at it. But I could not allow those moments to say, oh my God, that's it. What I had to do was get up.
That's right.
Evaluate what was jacked up about it. And sometimes I didn't. I think that's why in some cases, that's probably why I kept making the same mistake, because I didn't evaluate what was good, what was bad, and what needed to change, and what could stay the same, or what needed tweaking. But when you come to that realization in your life, you realize that the one thing that makes you sustainable is being resilient.
Exactly. It's true.
You got to show up every day.
That's right. That's right.
Even when you don't feel like it, you got to
you better show up
every day.
Yes, you do. Because you got to show up for yourself every day. You with yourself every day, 24 hours a day. You have to show up for yourself every day and say, hey, it's a new day, because yesterday died last night.
Let's get
okay. And here we go. We're going to go at this again.
And even when we have children, you know, it's like, because that is one of the things, you know, as parents, we will guilt our children.
Yeah,
or we will, I'm very disappointed in you. Okay. I'm disappointed.
That's not the lingo. That's not the lingo.
That's not the way to go, because life is hard enough.
Yes, it is.
Even when you think you are living it right. And so when things don't go the way we have planned,
that's right.
The ability, as I must keep saying, the ability to get up, show up, get dressed, go outside, leave your house and do it again, or do something different, or change the course, whatever it is.
Or adapt to the situation, whatever it may be for that day.
Until you can change the situation. But to realize that you always have options.
Yes, you do. Yes,
when you think you don't have any more options, that's when you're in trouble.
And you can tell, it's very subtle things that when you learn to read people, and you can see when you can see they have a certain idea about, like, they've had that same hairstyle for 50 years, or you're like, okay, that's interesting.
Right.
Every time you guys go out to something, let's say a formal affair, and maybe once every couple of years they wear that same evening dress.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just says something about them being stuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or just like, maybe I wouldn't say so much about furniture, but everything in the house just looks the same for the past 35 years. Right. It's like, nothing new, nothing. It's just,
nothing changes.
It's like, yeah, exactly. You do, you know what I mean? And I'm like, especially I think probably with me, with my hair, that's what people know me like, you have never had the same hairstyle. I'm always, you know what I mean? I never forget what I was wearing my hair long, then when I cut it, somebody saw me, people, like, at least 20 people came to me and they, I can't believe you cut your hair. I'm like, his hair will grow back.
Yeah, it'll grow back.
You know what I mean?
If it doesn't, we'll make it do what it do.
hey, we're gonna make it work. You know what I mean? It's not all of that. You know what I mean? It's just like some people like, I've been wearing this lipstick for 25 years. Hey, they made some new colors in 25 years too.
Right. They made some new lipsticks the year after that 25, or every year after you started using it.
And not to say like, when you find that perfect color, you find that. I mean, but it's always room like to try something new. See if it's just like to be current. But at the same time, like, not that, because this is the fashion I need to wear. Right. You need to dress for your age and your body type. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But, it's nice to have something new to brighten it up. You know what I mean? Like, I wear black every day. I've been wearing black every day for 50 years. Well, maybe you should try some color.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just open yourself up for a little bit more. you know, and try different things. That's what it's about. That's what this life is about. It's about enjoying and having fun, trying different things. When I think I told you this before, my daughter took a business course at Fairleigh Dickinson, the Madison campus, when she's like 16. And this guy, his name was Jack Killian, I believe. But he had something to do with IBM first starting up. He was an octogenarian. He was like in his 80s. And he came and spoke to them that first day I was there. And he said that if I had to go back to school today, he said I would study, what did he say? I would study, what's the other word for mingling?
Like
Yeah, like
socializing
he
or
said, like,
sociology or
yes.
something like that.
No, but go back to work for like networking. He would
Oh,
go back to
networking. Okay,
for
gotcha.
networking. And he said, because he said, that's really what it's all about. And he
Right.
said, when you are networking and you're in these situations, he said, you should have at least 5 different business cards in your pocket of the 5 different things you do.
There you go.
And he said that whenever you're talking to this person, then you have a business card for that, for what they're talking about that you are involved in. And he said, networking is so important. And you have to get out of yourself to move. You know, you have to network with other people. And networking is big because when you really think about it, as we know, you could go to well, not right now, but prior to COVID, you could go to a million different churches and hear these fabulous singers, and they do not have one record contract.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
But
That
it's
is correct.
all about networking.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, you could go to the local, theater group and see the finest actors that you have yet to see on the
and
movie
no one
screen.
knows their name.
Nobody knows their name. You know what I mean? That's just the way it's like networking. I gotta get out. You gotta go. You gotta go do this. You gotta do this. You gotta keep trying things until it works for you.
Right.
And whatever that level may be. I was having a discussion with the young lady that came and gave me a quote painting yesterday for $8,000, which I did not. I'm just like, okay. Like,
well, you actually still met with them even though you already do it.
No, she came. She had to come and measure everything, and then gave me the price.
Oh, girl.
It wasn't over the phone because they were coming over the phone. I said, please don't come. But trust me, it worked out. She bought some jewelry. She was like, well, I love that bracelet. I'm like,
oh,
okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. She was doing the thing. I like that bracelet. That's all I have when you want. She bought it. She was writing it up. She was right in my bedroom. I made the sale. Okay, so.
Okay, I like it then.
But what she was saying was that you like. Now I lost my train of thought when I went all into that, thinking about it. But it was definitely in the realm of like, you have to just get past your own stuff.
Yeah, get out of your own way.
Get out of your own way so you could move forward. Because if you don't, you'll never move forward.
No.
You would just stay there. And then like that, not to mention, misery loves company. There are people that will just hold you back. You know what I mean? Oh, that's what we were talking about. We were also talking about how, like she was saying, there is no middle class. And because part of the reason though is like, I was saying that some people, I had an argument, not an argument, but a discussion with a friend a couple of years ago when I was saying that, he was saying everybody should rise to the occasion. I said, well, maybe some people want to be a police officer, a school teacher, social worker, that they won't touch the 6 figures or maybe just a little bit over the 6 figures. I said, so what? We're not supposed to have those kind of careers in this world? So where they're supposed to live, how do they live in this world? It has to be something for everybody.
Right.
Because we're talking about the regentrification of how they're just killing out the middle class. What I mean, where they can't afford to live in this world. Everybody's not striving to be the 3%. And it's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Some people just want to own the local store and be happy.
Right. Exactly.
And make, $50,000-$60,000 a year and they're content.
Right.
What's wrong with that? And it shouldn't be anything wrong with that, but they should be able to live. You have, some school teachers that can get up into the 6 figures, but not all of them.
Right.
And that's kind of where you live in the country, to be honest with you. My sister left New York and she was making like, over 100,000. She went to North Carolina. She's making like 30, 40,000. So, so now we're not supposed to have school teachers.
Right. Well,
what I mean? Which they're underpaid anyway.
It becomes a thing of, again, options, right?
Exactly.
And we all some of us choose a path Some of us are put on a path, and some of us are just not given a path. But I do think as one gets into the, I guess, your mindset where you are able to decipher, you know, good, bad, indifferent, that you can change your trajectory. I had a heated debate with one of my friends about this because, as you just said, I think that we all have the ability to do more, to do better. And she said, well, maybe I don't know how to do better. And I said, I don't believe that.
You gotta learn.
I think pretty much everything in our life is a learned behavior.
It is.
We don't come into the world knowing how to do anything.
Nope,
we know how to breathe. We learn how to breathe. I think that's probably the one instant thing that we learn how to do.
And that's really our subconscious mind doing that, because we're breathing when we're sleeping.
Right. So it's not something that we learn how to do. It is just, it's there and we do it, right? Bodily
and we learn with our eyes, like especially when you first come into the world, you're watching your parents.
Right. Bodily functions, those are things that are just innate. They're going to happen whether you think you can control it or not. But when it comes to the path of your life, and I feel like despite what environment you came from, because a lot of times people say, well, because I came from this is why I couldn't do this, or this is why I did this and then caused me to do this.
That's not true.
I get that. I get that. But is that the reality? Because we all make choices. And sometimes we make good choices. Sometimes we make really bad choices. Sometimes we don't make a choice at all. And so, but there are always options. And so I refuse to accept the fact that because I was born into something means that this is all there is for me. And that could be good. I could have been born into a very prosperous, rich family and but maybe that family has no emotions.
Exactly. No love. Right? Yeah, they don't love people.
I could be born into the poorest of a family, and love is what we survived on. Taking care of each other is how I learned how to thrive and how I learned how to get ahead and do what I needed to do. So like I said,
well, you have to but like you said, it's choices. Because I know, I don't know, you know Deborah Roberts.
Yes.
She's okay. So she did it was years ago. She went back home. She comes from the South, where I do not know. And she sat down with all of her siblings. And it was just interesting. And I know I've seen this even, in a lot of other families too. But she, what I call them is, I say like she was the rock star of her family. None of her other siblings, and she has quite a few, made it to her level. So it's like, how did that happen? All of them, it was quite a few of them. I want to say maybe 7. They all lived in the same house. They all had the same parents, and she is Deborah Roberts, we know, on TV, and it was, and to see and we weren't, I know, I just remember her brother, it was like, you could see that he looked to me like he had a hard life, he had a couple of teeth missing and, things of that nature. And it's like, and I see that quite a bit sometimes. It's like, wow, what did you see or what did you desire in your life that your other sibling over here didn't? And like, you go back, it's choices.
Right. Because it's just like when you see people come from the same family, the same parents, right? We all were under the same ruling.
Exactly.
But I decided to go to school and be a bookworm. The other person decided I'm not going to go to school and I'm going to do what I want to do. So again, it goes back to one, we control no one and nothing, right? No matter what you do to them, you cannot control people. because you don't get to control people's minds and spirits and their will. You may have it, what you think, under control for a moment, but everybody still has their own spirit and a will to make it or not make it, or to make a decision that's best for them, or to make a decision that's not best for them. So all those things play into factor, but again, it's all about the ability to, one, heal from your trauma. Because trauma plays a major role in our lives.
Absolutely.
And when we don't deal with the trauma, it just keeps showing up in your life.
Yes, different aspects. Yes, it does.
So many, in ways that you don't even understand that it's showing up.
And some of us don't want to acknowledge the trauma.
Right. We don't want to acknowledge it. We keep fighting it and saying, there's nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with
exactly. And that's the first mistake. There's nothing wrong with me.
The fact that you're saying there's nothing wrong with you lets me know there's something wrong with you.
It's so true.
There's something wrong with all of us. It just depends on what level it is that we're wrong. Exactly. At what level it's changing our life, at what level it's affecting life. There's something wrong with all of us, because why? We're human.
Exactly.
Right?
We are human. Yes, we are.
We did not create ourselves. We can't fix ourselves. We can't, we can work on ourselves.
Exactly.
And even then, we still need help.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Help.
And the smartest one in the room is the one who asked for help. It's the smartest one in the room. That's right. I don't know how many times a day I say, help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus. Right. I need your help.
Right, I need your help.
I don't even know I need help for the days, but I know I need your help.
I need it. Right. Because I don't know what in the heck I'm doing and what's going on right now. So please help. Please
help me. Truly help me, Yes. But it's true though. It's deep. But some people just live in this place where, that I think one of the biggest mistakes that we actually do make is comparing ourselves to other people.
Oh yeah.
That's and being in competition with other people. The only competition I have is with myself. Stephanie Beyond Green.
That's the
because you will always fail. That's it. You will always fail competing with other people, because you can't. Their pace is not your pace. Their pace is not your pace.
Their dream, their life is not yours. And
exactly.
If you are going to take the time in your life to compare yourself to other people and measure yourself against other people, you're always going to come up short.
Yep, you're always going to lose.
You're always going to lose.
Yep,
you're always going to lose. The only person you need to compete with is the person who stares back at you each
in that mirror.
In that mirror.
That's right. That's right.
That's the only person you really need to worry about pleasing and satisfying and being accountable to. Because if you start there, then everything else falls into place. And I don't mean that in a selfish manner. I'm not talking about, because the world is, or everybody's on the, I'm going to do me and I'm going to do what's best for me. And and that is not true, because we don't live on an island.
Exactly. We don't live on an island.
We all need each other, regardless.
Yes, we do. Regardless. Exactly.
Regardless of what we think, we all need each other. Hence the reason why we were not born by ourselves. We were not born into the world by ourselves. So,
but you do have to put on the oxygen mask first. So you have to put on the oxygen mask first, and then you could put the oxygen mask on everybody else after that. So in that sense, but not in the sense like, it doesn't matter what people else have, just like you either see sometimes with young women with children, that the children, they're decked out and the children look like a hot mess. It's no way in the world. Right. Or you see her looking a hot mess and all your kids got on $200 and $300 sneakers.
Right.
And you looking like, well, who shot John?
Or you have multiple children and you can't provide for them, and then you're struggling just for the basics, and now you mistreat them because it's their fault.
Exactly.
They
But
didn't
nobody,
ask to
but nobody
come.
told you to lay down with that
All right.
person
They didn't ask
unprotected
to
and have
come,
that
but
baby.
now you're mad at them because they exist, right? But they didn't ask to come here. So again,
Yeah.
it's
Or are you
optional
mad
and
like
it's
what I
choices.
found? Are you mad that now you've had this child? It was the best thing since sliced bread, but now this child is older, okay? And now because, oh, he's so cute,
Yeah.
nanosecond, nanosecond.
Yeah.
And when I say the truth comes out of the mouths of babes, the
Babes,
truth
yes,
comes out of
yes.
the mouths of babes. And when that 2 or 3 year old or 4 year old tell you, well, mommy, we don't have no milk. I want cereal. And you
Right.
say, I don't have no money. Well, I saw you got your nails done. And they will tell you
Let me tell you
because they don't miss
something.
a thing. They do
I
not
re-
miss a thing. But let me tell you, I'm gonna finish this real quick. So now they too much because
oh
they
yeah,
smart.
right.
That ain't too much. But
Right.
now what they're doing is, oh, they have another baby. Oh, but this baby is maybe just doesn't. They may not be saying it, but they thinking it. Because
Hmm.
these are little people.
Right.
They growing. They're little people. But also now this one is the problem child. So I'm gonna call the state. You need to take him.
Yeah.
He'll. So
Yeah.
now we throwing away children
Yeah.
because my family's good for that. Could give them to the state, which is
I've
disgusting.
seen a lot of that happening during COVID, and I think that's so crazy.
Disgusting.
But I will say, I remember clearly when my son and I was a single mom, and I was here. We moved back to Georgia,
I remember that.
and I remember clearly this one morning, because every morning, despite the fact that I would get his uniform ready the night before and pack lunch, and like I would prepare for the following day,
Of course.
but it
Right.
just seemed like every morning there seemed to be this running around, and not him, me. And I remember this one morning, my son was ready, prepared, dressed, sitting on the steps with his head like this. And I was like, whoa, 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 I gotta get it. And my son said, oh, let me move out the way, because here come the crazy lady. I I paused because, of course, the first instinct was like, what you just say to me? But I could not. I couldn't chastise him or punish him, because that was a true reality check for me of I was running around like I was crazy, like I was losing it, that I didn't have control. And when he made that statement, it was a spirit awakening for me. And that was where I said to myself, okay, so mornings will not be crazy. Like I don't believe in waking up and kids getting ready for school and you're arguing and you're fussing and you're screaming at each other and mornings need to be
Calm.
the foundation for how you're going to go forth into the world for this day.
Mm-hmm.
So I try hard to never, I really worked hard on not arguing with my children in the morning time. Mm-hmm. If you're going to have conversation, and the conversation is calm. And it really made me realize that that's what my son was seeing. And so that's what when he said that, he was not being disrespectful. He saw me in a tizzy, and that was a constant. And why was I in a tizzy? So it made me really do a reflection and evaluate and learn to say, okay, you got to get your stuff together, calm the heck down, pull it together, and let's change this trajectory of what you're doing in front of him and what you're doing to yourself as well. So, like you said, out of the mouths of babes,
Yeah, they say the truth.
But nonetheless, life is a journey, and
it is.
And every day is an opportunity to learn, no matter how old we are, how educated we are, how many degrees we carry or we don't carry, what titles we hold in life. I don't care what it is. Every day is an opportunity to learn something new. And when we get to the point to think that we don't need to learn anymore, or that we can't be taught something, or we
Yeah,
refuse to listen to reason, we're in trouble.
we are in trouble. And you know what? On top of that, you go at your own pace.
Right,
It's
right,
not a race, but it's more that you want to get it right more than be a race. So go at the pace that works for you.
right.
This rush, 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 trying to get it all done, and then becomes you get it done, it's a mess. You can't even
Yes,
sustain it. And you
right.
see that all the time. You see, like how did that business go out? I mean, they was one on every corner.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, like the yogurt
now it's
place, I don't know
gone.
the name of it, but now they were everywhere. All of a sudden, boom. You know what I mean? You have to build those strong roots and
Yep,
foundations and whatever it is you're doing so
right,
it can sustain itself and so you go at a pace that works for you that you're able
right,
to do that. You
right.
know, that's most important because it will drive you crazy trying to keep up with other people.
Yeah,
You cannot keep up with other people. You gotta only keep up with yourself and ask God what is right for you.
right.
Because He has a journey for each and every one of us, and you have to be on your own journey, not someone else's journey.
And
That person
those are
that
great
person that you're
words.
gonna meet.
Those are
But,
great
but,
words to live by.
mm-hmm.
So I just want to say, I hope that you all tuned in today. I hope that you all gathered some nuggets of wisdom. I know I always do when we're having conversations, I always say, let me talk out loud so I can hear myself think.
I know that's right.
And so, it gives me the opportunity to reflect upon something I may have said or done, and then I need to go back and like, let me revisit that or whatever. But I want to say thank you all to each and every one of you. I hope you have a great weekend. Honey Bunny, I love you.
I
Thank
love
you
you
so
too.
much.
Have a great weekend.
You do the same. And you
Have a
guys,
great weekend, everybody.
right,
We'll
you
see
guys
you
be
soon.
safe and be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.